Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Whenever the government, historically talking, imposed limitations on businesses or groups or items or restrictions, it always created a underground market, and criminality increased on the given subject or topic or whatever they tried to control. Whenever it was the time of prohibition here in the United States with the alcohol, the criminality increased, and a lot of gangs and mafiosos made a lot of money. Now the same thing it seems to happen in the oil business, and not only in the oil business but related to the oil business, the tankers that carry oil from one place to another. Some sanctions were imposed, if you remember, by the big boss and the European Union. Therefore, a lot of tankers just turn off their transmitters and they go dark, and they don't know exactly where they are. They just show up here, disappear there, and it's a lot of exchanging in the high seas of oil from one tanker to another tanker, transfers and deliveries by the appropriate tankers. The thing is, so a lot of hanky-panky increased. Not that it wasn't before, now it's more than before. Why? Because these guys try to control and impose sanctions on Russian deliveries of oil. So we have here an article where actually we find that that's a big market, black market, that has to do with oil tankers, that they're hiding their origins. So this article comes from the Voice, or the New Voice of Ukraine, and this is from October 23rd, 2022. This is the title: Oil tankers with unknown owners being amassed to ship Russian oil, Bloomberg reports. A vast shadow fleet of oil tankers is being formed to service Moscow's interests, the Bloomberg financial news agency reported on October 23rd. According to them, Moscow is gathering 240 ships to support the 4 million barrels a day of Russian exports to the Far East. It says Christian Ingerslev, the chief executive officer of Maersk Tankers AS in Copenhagen, which operates a fleet of 170 ships, told Bloomberg that, and I'm quoting, "If you look at how many ships have been sold over the past 6 months to undisclosed buyers, it's very clear that a fleet is being built up in order to transport this," end quote. Well, I think this guy is just upset that he's losing money somewhere, maybe. According to ship broker Bremar estimates that 240 ships have had a history of assisting sanctions-laden petro regimes in continuing their oil exports. Many of the tankers, including some of the 102 Aframaxes, 58 Suezmaxes and 80 very large crude carriers, were involved in shipping Iranian and Venezuelan crude just last year. The head of tanker research at Bramar, Anup Singh, also corroborated Ingerslev's observations, noting a recent sharp rise in tankers trading. The buyers are undisclosed entities based namely in Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore and Cyprus. Many of the tankers are older ships, but the paper trail leading back to often obscure shell companies make definite provenance difficult to establish. However, Russian ship owner Sovomflot PJSC is believed to have supplied some tankers for Russia's shadow fleet efforts as well. Moscow isn't only relying on a shadow fleet to export its oil, according to Bloomberg. Russia will also be making increasing use of ship-to-ship transfers, that's the one I was talking about, on the open seas, a result of the sanctions risk from handling exports directly from Russian ports and the need to collate a few small cargoes onto larger tankers for long-haul shipments. Where is a will, there is a way. So they trigger this kind of, how should I put it, a pirate fleet that are just mercenaries. And I'm pretty sure the money that they receive from whomever pays, and I'm guessing is the Russians, right? It's unaccounted by any government. That means no taxes. So no taxes, that means more money. And I'm assuming it's cash, or who knows. The fact that this underground black market is increasing its operation is due to the sanctions. More sanctions, more underground criminality. And I don't know how they could figure the things out, or what can they do, but use the military. And who's going to be the military? The United Nations, or is going to be the US? Will US try to be the policeman of the world? Because yeah, you can enforce this kind of things when they come close to your shores with your own, ships. But in the high seas, what kind of jurisdiction you have? Who is the policeman of the world? To stop another ship and say, I want to see your paperwork. Pfft, beat it. Who are you? Who are those entities? As I said, I'm not talking about the Coast Guard of a country. By the time you get to a Coast Guard area, the cargo was already transferred from the bad ship into a good tanker. And the tanker has all the paperwork fudged, and I don't know. There are tracking systems that you can see what happened with the oil. Obviously, the provenance of the oil. I know that you can temper that. You can alter that as well to show that it was processed. So when you extract it, and you can go and process it, and then you sell it, and then you put it in tankers, and then you sell it like the Indians did. It shows it comes from India, and from there you really don't know exactly where it came from. But if it comes from, let's say, straight from Russia somewhere, they can identify by testing the oil the provenance of the oil, what wells, what area it comes, and obviously they can figure out it's Russian oil. But then, who are these guys to investigate? And then I think there is a lot of, will be a lot of weapons involved in this kind of transfers. And it's like a transfer of cocaine or whatever other drugs that they do in the high seas, the same thing. You're going to have armed people over there that will have probably, I don't know, some American weapons delivered via Ukraine. Yeah. So yeah, where you have a little governmental overseas, you're going to have the criminality flourishing. I'm not trying to, how should I put it, blame the situation on the law enforcement or on, you have to control certain things. But what's going on here, I think, is just the thing with the sanctions and embargoes. That reminds me of the period before the Second World War, when there were a group of people started imposing sanctions on Germany and boycotting Germany, and it was a big movement. And then people wondered why there were some problems. Well, one thing leads to another, and so on. So yeah. Sometimes you stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.